They were talking about, Donald Trump not paying any taxes when they were talking about when he was president.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, he didn't pay any taxes. Anybody that was in
How
real
rude.
estate
Well,
knew.
no, you don't want to pay any
It's
taxes.
because he's in real estate. Because he owns
Because he's in real estate.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Building Your Own Economy podcast. Today's guests, the Trumans, are rock stars in multifamily real estate and in real estate and business in general. These guys are more passionate about real estate than I've ever met anyone in my life about. They love helping people, serving the community, but more importantly, they're going to share some really good tips about investing, what to invest in, their top 3 investment strategies for today's market. We're going to talk a little bit about the recession, things that have changed, things that are shifting. They're in one of the greatest cities in the country, Nashville. We're going to talk about Nashville and how that's economics are being changed and moving around and how that's going to be impacted. And today, I promise you don't want to miss this episode. It's going to be great. Welcome the Trumans. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
It's delightful to be here.
This is going to be fun because you guys are in an industry that I think most of my guests and myself are seriously interested in every day. I think everything that I talk about revolves around what you guys actually do. So, what is it that you guys do? And you guys, I don't know how we're going to pick this, but you guys tag each other in. I mean, power couple.
Go ahead, Jen.
We figured this out.
Sure. Well, we actually have 2 different things that we do specifically. We help people with occupation services. That means that people who are going to occupy a building, they are the owner user. And then we have what are called investment services, and we help people invest in commercial real estate. So here we're helping really sell sticks and bricks, but here we're selling money, cash flow.
There you
People
go.
that are looking at those, they're wanting
I like that hand.
this hand. Yeah, this is a good hand.
Better.
Yeah.
But we do both, and we do it very differently than.
That's awesome. How long have you guys been in this industry?
Well, I started out originally as a commercial real estate appraiser. I have in my previous career, my first career, I have a degree in advertising and a degree in marketing. And then a friend of mine was getting ready to start his own business, and he approached me and said, "You're way too analytical to be a professional artist." And I was like, "Well, I have won awards, so there's that." But I thought I wanted to build wealth, and I knew that I would never do that if I was working a $1 per hour job for someone else. And so I thought I wanted to get an MBA, and I switched to in my mind that if I were watch someone start a business from the ground up, that I would be able to basically get my life MBA. So that was in 2011 that I started doing that.
The tail end of a recession.
Yes, and so we were appraising properties in like subdivisions where it looked like the bomb had gone off, right? That halfway through all of the construction things they just stopped. People had bankruptcies, etc. So
Interesting.
It was a really fun / interesting, fascinating
So
time.
11 was your year that you joined into the
Into
sales side of things.
Well, that was when I became a commercial real estate appraiser.
Yeah.
Oh,
but in
okay.
2013, end of 2013, beginning of 2014, is when I started doing the brokerage side, or as my boss said, I went to the dark side.
There you go.
Because appraisers and
So were you
brokers
first, or were you first into the? Okay, and then she drug you along.
Yeah, so she started in it,
Yeah.
and then I had spent 22 years in corporate America doing government contracting work, and then when I got out of there, I started a business brokerage company, and we grew it to be the largest one in Nashville by 2016, and then we actually signed ownership of that over to somebody else, signed a non-compete, and then I went to work with Jana in 2016, and I have been doing nothing but multifamily since I first started into.
Interesting.
my best hire.
Big best recruit here, right? So the question, 2 questions. I got 2 questions out of this. Number 1. Seeing those half-made subdivisions, do you think we're going there anytime soon again?
Not in our market.
Okay. You think any other market could be susceptible to that today?
Well, I think, first off, banks are skittish, and so they're not lending on new home construction and new home starts. And even in Tennessee, even as hot as our market is, banks for Q1 and Q2 have already pretty much just tamped down all residential new home construction until they see what is going to happen, because they don't want to get caught in that same trap.
Well, what about the other side, the investor side? Because obviously you can consider the bank the investor, but what about real investors who went into these big communities, maybe subdivisions that they started themselves with their own cash? Do you feel like these guys are in trouble?
Again, how deep are their pockets? And cost of construction continues to rise, although it has stabilized in some segments of the construction market. But you also have cost of labor is an issue. And while they may have started with their own money, if they run out, if any of them have any kind of a variable rate, they are hurting.
Well, and if they went into large scale, by going large scale, I think they very could possibly be in some trouble.
I mean, I see that as a challenge right now. I saw one of the largest home builders, I can't remember the name of the company, but they're starting to pod some together, right? Mm-hmm. They're packaging 5,000 homes at a time and selling them off to investors because they know there's no way to...
Right.
This is a tide you don't want to be on right now. You just want to let this go out, which actually creates an opportunity, doesn't it?
Yeah.
For who? Who's the opportunity at this point for people who are doing what right now?
Well, in the case of the build to rent space, that's actually a builder who builds specifically with the idea that they're going to do for investors. There is that opportunity.
Well, you said who's it an opportunity for? The investors.
The investors, but the ones that haven't been in the game, right? The ones that have been sitting with the cash.
Yeah, and there's
investors are definitely.
There's been a lot of, if you want to call it dry powder sitting on the sideline the last 2 years, because of the pandemic. I mean, we're seeing that ourselves, right? Our serial investors have not stopped investing even with the rates going up, but some of maybe people that were new in the last year or so are kind of stepping to the sidelines. But what we're seeing, David, is that those that dry powder where they have been sitting on the sidelines for a couple of years, now they're coming in because they're like, oh, these people are going out. Well, we're going to come in,
That's right?
And they're bringing, cash into the market, and many of them, they might have been using a different broker. So a lot of them are actually new to us. They're not new to real estate, but they're new to us.
Or they are realtors themselves and choose to use us.
Why you guys? I mean, what's the difference? I mean, I know why, but what does the audience do? Like, actually, a better way to say this is, what should somebody be looking for if they're looking to put their money and they're looking for a broker like you guys? What should they be looking for? What do you guys do differently that people should be looking for?
This sounds kind of crazy, and it's sad to say.
I love crazy.
But the number one thing, though, David, is we actually answer our phone when somebody calls.
That's a big deal, by the way.
In commercial real estate, that is so true. We will have people call us and go, wow, you guys actually picked up the phone. We've called 6 other brokers and nobody's picked up the phone.
Voicemail, man.
You guys actually pick it up. So, right. I mean, that sounds simple, but I think it's a differentiator. Big differentiator. And then I think the fact that we sit people down and really provide the education for them on what investing looks like. Oh. And I think that we're not just transactional. We're relational.
We're not looking for a one and done. That makes no sense.
You need lifetime customers.
Yes,
we
exactly.
really truly want to help them create a life by design, and that means we walk alongside them the whole way.
Yep, and that's key. There's really nobody else out there. We have people come to us whether they are coming to want to join our team as an agent or just as an investor, and we ask them how they heard about us or whatever. The number one thing that we hear is, so-and-so said you guys are the only ones out there that will provide education and help us and walk along with us and educate us and that. So we think that's just a big differentiator for us.
So the differentiators that if somebody's out there, I mean, you guys we're in the great state of Tennessee. Great state. Y'all are in Nashville. So you guys work, how many states do you guys work in?
Southern Kentucky, Northern Alabama, and Northern Georgia, and Tennessee.
All of Tennessee.
Mm-hmm. Mainly the southern states that touch
Okay, that's cool. So tell me about some of the deals that you guys done in the last year or two. Any big deals?
Well,
What's the biggest deal? I want to hear this.
probably in the last year, we in a little tiny town of Sparta, Tennessee, we did how many units?
74.
Okay.
74 unit there, and that one was a tricky one. It was a family where they had multiple siblings involved in it.
A family.
So what they were selling, and then we were dealing with a buyer, actually from our same company. SVN is a nationally franchised company, but we are independently owned and operated. And our sister organization in Knoxville were
They brought the
Where they got the
buyer.
deal.
Yeah,
they brought the buyer, the seller or the buyer?
They brought the buyer. We had the listing.
We had the listing.
And
that's
again,
nice.
this goes back to a point we made in that, that the one of the siblings, one of the reasons they worked and chose us was because we actually
answered the phone.
did answer the phone, and so why it might have not been the largest. It was
a very
it was a very complicated because you have 3 siblings that lived in 3 different states, and some of them didn't necessarily communicate
with each other.
And so
I've seen these deals, by the way.
Yeah,
I've done commercials deals like that.
Yeah,
where they inherited property, or one of them mom passed or dad passed, and then there's the other members.
Right.
I've seen that.
Yeah.
So how big was that deal? How much money was it?
$6 million.
Oh, that's a pretty big deal, though.
Yeah. So it was more or less kind of mom and pop almost operation as far as management wise, too. And so that's always tricky when it comes to numbers, financials. As you know, as being an investor, that can be.
Oh yeah.
That can be a little making sure you're getting updated numbers, correct numbers, get the real figures.
Do you find that a lot of investors are coming to you for, I guess this is not a trick question, it's more so, are they coming to you because they're looking for properties that are cash flowing at a high level, or are they looking to park their money, or are they looking for tax savings? What is it that their number one, this is why I want to do it strategy?
Yeah.
Usually it's because they want cash flow.
Okay.
But in something that maybe your viewers would want to know about the Nashville, and we get this call almost every single day. Why do I want to buy in Tennessee? Why do I want Nashville in particular? And the answer is we have a very diverse basic economy, where when most people think of Nashville, they think of Nashville as music city and country music. Nash Vegas, right? But most people are really surprised to find out that our number one economy driver is healthcare. We are home to the 3 largest health maintenance organizations in the country, aka all of the United States, and we are a technology hub. We are a national headquarters where if they have a headquarters in New York and LA, we are usually in one of their top 3 or 5 choices of where they want their 3rd or 4th national headquarters.
Interesting.
We have a large automotive and education drivers as far as our economy. So our economy is extremely diverse. And National Spotlight is on us because it's a safe place. So remember when we began our conversation, we talked about the post-recession, the 2008, 2009. The fundamentals of the economy are very different from that, number one. But in Williamson and Davidson County, where in places like Vegas and LA, you saw values drop up to 30 and 40%, in Williamson County, in which we're in right now, we only had a 10% drop in value.
Really?
So people want Middle Tennessee because it's a safe haven.
It's a safe investment as well.
So we're finding that REITs and big companies are coming here to park money if they're self-funded.
Well, and then I would say, though, that if, because we have a large buying pool that buys multifamily.
Yep.
Right? And so your specialty of tax strategy, You know, they're looking at, you know, multifamily from the standpoint of, you know, how helpful that is for their taxes, right? Whether it's, you know, cost segregation, doing other, you know, tax strategies that their, you know, CPA or somebody like you helps them with. So, you know, the tax portion of real estate, you know, is
a big, huge reason.
Do they come to that first, or is it really first cash flow? It's first cash flow, right?
Cash flow
It is
first.
cash flow, and then it's, you know, it's taxes, right? They either, you know, listen to, you know, Uncle G or Bigger Pockets or whatever that's talked about,
Cash
you know,
flow.
yeah, cash flow, but then also talks about, you know, the tax savings, right? How they can get into multifamily and pay so, you know, fewer taxes. And I think, and this is not a political statement by any means, so
You should be
I hope
political.
that the audience doesn't take it that way, but anybody that was into real estate way back when they were talking about, you know, Donald Trump not paying any taxes when they were talking about being his president, and they're like, yeah, he didn't pay any taxes. Anybody that was
How
into real
rude.
estate
Well,
knew.
no, you don't want to pay any
It's
taxes.
because he's in real estate. Because he owns
Because he's in real estate.
That's why he doesn't pay, right?
I reviewed that tax return, by the way, and
Yeah.
I looked it through, man. So it's all real estate.
Yeah.
He had like 462 K1s from different partnerships. Almost every one of them was real estate oriented. So, I mean, it's all real estate losses.
Yeah. So it just comes back to the whole point of that's why, you know, a lot of people, they get in first is cash flow, but second is, hey, this is a huge way for us to not be able to pay any taxes.
Well, to lower the reason that it's, by the way, by design, the reason that is created, it's not to avoid taxes, it's to incentivize a taxpayer to take an activity that would invest in the economy.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
that's all it's doing. It's because low-income housing or housing in general is something that the government needs to do more of.
And it's incentivized.
It's an incentivized for the investor
Yes.
to use their own free capital to
Exactly.
invest into the economy. That's all it is. I mean, any activity that's ever incentivized by a tax credit is an activity that the government wants us to participate in.
Exactly.
I mean, oil and gas. Now it's electric.
Yeah.
I mean, all these activities are, and real estate will never disappear because there is a shortage of homes.
Yeah.
Well, and we do have pent-up demand even here in this area. We, especially in the affordable housing realm. But another one that people consider is, like Texas, the great state that you're from. In Tennessee, it is constitutionally protected that we will never have a personal state income tax.
Yeah, exactly.
And that is a big reason why people want to come here, because if they are
Don't live in
investing from
California.
outside, they are facing the opportunity of double taxation if they invest in a state where that is the case.
So people sell their houses in California and buy apartments here.
They're lock,
what I'm
stock,
saying?
they're selling their entire portfolios in California.
Yeah.
And then moving here and redeploying their capital.
We have a couple of clients that have done that exact thing.
Yeah.
I mean, sold their entire portfolios. I mean,
So
we're talking about we're talking about hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of units, and now moved here and buying.
I have
Are
a
buying.
client that has a property in California. We just started working with them, and they have a property. I don't remember how many units it was, but he just had it appraised, and it was $26 million multifamily in California. But it wasn't that many units. I can't remember how many units, but it wasn't
It's
a lot.
mind-boggling,
It wasn't
yeah.
a lot. And I said, man, how, 26 million? He's like, yeah, we bought it for 10. And I'm like, whoa, like that's
they're
killer.
getting really good returns even still.
Killer. But then he goes, I need to sell it. I'm like, for the capital gain? He's like, no, I got to get out of California, man.
Well, that's it.
They're taking all his money, man. He's paying up the wazoo,
Yeah.
13%.
I want to just mention one other thing that when you're talking about people coming to us. So one of the items that we pride ourselves in and service is that we are kind of known as the folks that have a lot of off-market, multifamily
awesome.
properties.
Right.
And so, because we deal with a lot of direct-to-seller type, and we'll get off-market properties, and then
That's where the
and
gold
people,
We
yeah,
shake the
and
bushes.
So,
That's right.
So, we had one recently, that ended up, appraising. So for the folks that bought it, we found the property. The folks that bought it were loving life because of the fact that it appraised for $800,000 more than what they ended up buying it for.
my
So
gosh.
day one,
They got
they had
equity.
$800,000 in equity the day they signed.
That's
Right?
killer.
So
Yeah.
so we end up with a lot of those off market properties.
So, do you feel like, I mean, with the economic shift, I mean, I'm assuming you're basically saying Nashville's kind of got some protective shield, or the
Yes.
Tennessee
Yeah.
area.
Yes.
It's got a shield
Yep.
around it. I mean, it's going to get
A
an
bubble.
impact. It's
Call it
gonna-
a bubble.
It's going to have a little impact, but it won't be
Yeah.
as impactful as the rest of the country.
That's historically that is correct.
Yeah.
And we, in our fundamentals, that diversity of our economy has only improved, not declined. So we have even gotten even more diverse in our economy, and that is part of the reason why we have so many people that are
Yeah,
coming in.
and the economists are saying, well, if there is another, a burst in any kind of a bubble, which I don't think there is going to be, but just say there was, where Nashville might have been affected at maybe 7-8% back in 2008 and those years.
Yeah.
They're like, this time it'll probably only be like 3 or 4% this
like
time.
half of the impact.
Yeah, because
Right.
of what Jana had mentioned, when you have Amazon coming here and you have Oracle moving their whole entire headquarters out of California here, bringing 12,000 jobs.
I mean, it's killer,
So-
man. I love the city.
so-
I mean, I love
yeah.
the area. If I had enough business here, I'd live here too. I do. It's great. It's a great city to be
Yeah.
in. I mean, I'm not plugging it. I'm just
Yeah.
saying I like it. It's a cool
We
city.
would take you.
There you go. You're like, I need a broker to
Yeah,
find me a
yeah.
house, right?
Well, we sell portfolios of residential homes. We don't actually sell single family homes. We really
so I have
are.
to buy a bunch, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
You can live in one of the 24 that we'll sell you.
There you go. I
How's
like
that?
your style. You're like,
Yeah.
I don't have one. I got
Yeah.
24 to pick
Yeah.
from, but they all come together.
Yeah.
Well, we can recommend you to some of the best real estate agents that are residential in
There you go.
but because they are our referral partners. They don't
do this stuff.
They don't do it, and the number one real estate agent in the state gives us her clients our name
Interesting.
to help them with their real estate investments.
So what would be, I mean, outside of let's say multifamily, what's the next best investment that you see in real estate today? What's the next best investment?
In multi-tenant industrial.
Okay, so basically warehousing.
Yes.
So warehousing, or some people refer to it too as flex space,
Interesting.
meaning it's it may be a bigger building, but it's it's 2,500 square foot. This unit's 25. This is 4,000. This is but all together it may be 40,000 the whole thing. But they
break it
almost condoize them into 4,000 square feet, where you may have an office. When you come in, there's an office or two, maybe a little conference room, and then the rest of it is all just warehouse space with roll-up doors.
Yep.
Stuff like that. That is.
That's what the next. Well, that's not the next. That's the next best investment strategy.
That is.
Yes.
Yeah, because those tenants end up signing. Like they'll sign like 10-year leases, right? And it's triple net stuff.
Yeah.
So-
They're business owners. They have a sense of ownership in their space. Retail and office in our area, we're seeing an office conversion to multifamily trend, where people are buying some of the older office buildings and they're converting them into either short-term rentals or to long-term rentals, and even some of the midterm type of housing for like traveling nurses and things like that.
That makes so much sense.
So so we're seeing some renovations of that. Retail here, though, you would think with all that's going on in the retail world, this is unique to Nashville. I don't think this is a national trend, but retail vacancies here in the Nashville area are below 3%.
Interesting.
Meaning that
Yeah.
they have a limited amount of retail, and anytime they build it, it goes like crazy. The problem is that they're not building because the banks aren't lending on it. But nationwide, we're seeing more experiential type of retail investments, and in fact, Tanger outlets is building their flagship, like the Taj Mahal of all outlet malls here in the Nashville area.
And they expect to fill it.
And
right?
they haven't even, I mean, it's a mud pit, and they are already 80%
occupied.
Interesting. So that is an area that if you are in it already, you can be there, but construction costs are tricky, and a lot of the retailers are pulling back, but not here in Nashville.
So it'd be first multifamily for you guys, second
industrial, then
industrial,
third
flex,
would be
retail.
Then would be retail, and then fourth would be office with the
into self-storage.
the specialty type, self-storage or car washes or those kinds of things.
Do you guys, by the way, when you guys prepare for, let's say I'm a buyer, not a seller, which that's what I am, and you guys don't have the property, so you guys are going to look for it for me.
Yes.
Are you working with the other broker to like make sure and verify that their cap rate that they're telling me is right? Are you actually doing that? Is that
Yes.
like a job that you guys take on?
Absolutely.
So y'all review financials?
We do.
Yes.
We'll underwrite a property, especially on the multifamily side.
Interesting.
To make sure that it, matches what they're trying to say, especially when it comes to cap rates and things like that. So we'll do underwriting on the property. We do a lot of obviously cold calling and direct to seller
knock,
stuff.
knock.
So
Hi,
so
I'm
we're-
Jana. Will you sell?
Well, I figure with the background in business, buy and sell business, I'm assuming you have a lot of underwriting experience.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
Because that's a big deal. I mean, we didn't even touch on that. Was one of my questions earlier, and I didn't get to is that business buying and selling businesses is an art. And
Yes.
if you're saying you were running one of the biggest ones in the area,
Yeah, we had the largest one here in Nashville.
and
Yep.
now you just do that for fun, or is
Well,
that actually a bit?
No, we are SV and Accel Commercial Real Estate, and we also own a business brokerage called Accel Exit Advisors. So our non-compete came up, and
Then
we
we
started
started
it back
back
up. So we're working on several.
By the way, that's a good
million-
topic. Have you seen that their Congress is working on getting rid of the non-competes?
Yep.
What do you think of that?
Yeah.
Well, real estate nationally, in the state of Tennessee, it's illegal to have a non-compete for real estate anyway.
But his non-solicitation is probably there. And
Correct.
Right.
non-compete, non-solicitation is totally different, right?
Right.
But non-compete, you can't have a non-compete in
In real estate in the state of Tennessee.
Well, that makes sense though, because I mean, people move brokerages all the time.
Right.
I can see that. You couldn't stop. That's a profession, I'm assuming. It's kind of like a doctor or a.
Correct.
They have to sign a non-solicitation. Is probably it. But in other industries, I'm sure non-compete's available here.
Yeah.
Well, it was on the business brokerage side, but that's now up, and so now we started it back. And actually, we have one of the top 5 franchise brokers that's going to be coming to work for us in only
March.
probably in just a couple
He's
weeks.
moving from Arizona.
To come to work for us.
To do
But-
franchise sales.
Yeah,
here
but
in-
one of the things I was going to say is, since you brought that up, is it's interesting, for us, even with, there's been a rise in, obviously, interest rates. So, real estate wise, so you'd think on the business brokerage side that may also tamp that down. We're actually seeing an uptick.
No, I would pick that up.
We're seeing an uptick in people coming to us, looking to buy a business.
Well, because
Right?
I mean,
So
you
it's
buy a
really
business for
interesting.
cash, right? I mean, cash flow. That's what you're
Yep.
buying. I mean, I love buying businesses, or at least looking at them. I've only bought 2 in the same industry. I bought some tax stores, but I've never done it at a large scale. But I can see that. I mean, there's just so much more upside there.
But the kicker is, as hard as financing has shut down on the real estate side, it has shut down even harder on the business brokerage side.
Interesting.
And in fact, SBA right now is anywhere between 3.5% to 4.5% above prime.
Well,
And so getting an SBA loan right now, compared to even a year ago, the amount of money that it requires, number one, for you to bring down, and the rate, the effect that the rate is going to have on your overall cash flow is huge.
The cool thing, though, that just creates another little opportunity, I think. I think
if you're a cash buyer, for sure.
Well, not even just cash, because if I'm a seller and I know that the market is not so good for me to sell right now because I can't get anybody who's got cash or they can't get financing. Well, if I'm a buyer, now I got an opportunity, right? Because there's people, if they're selling, there's a real exit, like a need for it, right?
Yes.
In real estate, one of my early mentors said there's 3 Ds: death, divorce, and disease. Now, right? There's the 3 Ds. He goes,
Right.
every day,
A trigger event.
something's going to happen.
Yeah.
And that could be in business or it could be in real estate. It's going to happen. And so that means these people need an exit plan. And that if I'm a buyer, maybe I don't have to come with a lot of cash. Maybe they carry a big note.
That's actually the case. I was
Yep.
going to just
It's
say.
going to go into that.
Owner financing is going to be, right now, is in 80% of the deals.
That's
that
awesome.
actually close.
You got something for sale? I mean, I'm interested right now. I mean, that's what
We
you
do.
want to do.
Yeah.
I mean, because that's what you want. I
Yep.
mean, you want to amplify. I mean, I mean, what is it? Baby boomers still own, like, I don't know, 60% of all businesses
Sure.
today.
Yep.
And
The
they're the
silver
ones.
tsunami's coming.
Yeah, and they need an exit strategy. And the exit strategy was what? Jimmy and Jane, you know, and they both said, you know what, screw you,
Nope.
Mom and Dad,
Yep.
just
I'm
give me
not
the
doing
cash.
it. Yeah.
Give me the cash.
Well, and actually that leads us to, so you have, like you said, Jane and Johnny, who don't want the business.
Nope.
The parents then can look, what we do is we help them sell their business, and then we help them reinvest
In
that
real estate.
into real estate where they have a passive income, and then we help train them and teach them how to do that so that it's not only going to benefit their lives, but then they can bequeath that to their
But
children.
it becomes harder right now that they don't get cash for their businesses, right?
Right.
Because
Right.
it's going to be harder.
Yeah.
It's harder
But-
for everybody.
But the tax
thing-
strategy is a beneficial thing because you're amortizing the capital gains over time.
Oh, yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and they're, during their lifetime, their kids may not get money, but they are getting money
Correct.
in a periodic payment over time.
It's basically like creating, you ever heard of a deferred sales trust?
Yes.
Very
Yeah.
similar concept when you owner finance. It's a very similar concept.
Yeah.
So, except they're carrying the note, which I think is incredible right now. I would love to talk to a business owner who's in the position that's just like, I need out.
Yeah.
You know, give me 10%, you know, and we'll finance the rest. And the cool thing is you can, I mean, if you run that thing for 24 months, you go to the bank in 24 months and just cash them out.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the
Cash
cool-
out refi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you
Yep.
could definitely do that. So I think
Well,
this is incredible
yeah.
times.
And the other thing for us is that the real estate and the business broker, it's congruent, right? Because about 30% of the businesses we sell have real estate involved with it,
Interesting.
right? So it plays into
Because
with
it
our
comes
real
with the
estate
deal.
stuff.
It comes with the deal.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And oftentimes one or the other is subsidizing the value of the other, right? So
Yeah.
in the case with the business, maybe the business isn't worth that much, but the real estate is worth a lot. Or maybe it's vice versa. Maybe it's in a place where the real estate isn't that big of a deal, but the business is, so it actually can create an overall greater value.
I saw a guy do a deal. This was maybe 6 months ago. He was talking to me about it, and he said he bought a business. What was it? Like a dry cleaner, because those are pretty good. And they owned the real estate, and they were selling the building as a combo. And he's like, I don't know nothing about dry cleaners. So what he did is he went and he talked to the manager that was running the whole operation and just said, I'll give you 20% of the business. You just keep running it, but I'm gonna buy it. And he's now getting, I don't know what he bought. It was a really sweet deal because he just gave ownership, so he didn't have to do any work. Got the real estate, got the business. I was like, man, that was good.
Yeah.
This is like a killer idea. Because I wouldn't have thought of that. I would have just been like, oh, I guess I'll learn how to run this. He's like, I wasn't going to run it. Dry cleaners.
Sure. Well, another way that people are doing it is if they own the real estate, they sell the business but not the real estate, and then they keep the real estate and rent
That's
it
the
back
annuity.
to the business.
That's the annuity.
And so then they can make money that way as well.
It's a very good strategy too.
But the biggest key, though, is we take people and help them analyze the risk. So think of it as if you were looking at traditional stocks and bonds, you'd have high cap, mid cap, and low cap stocks.
Yep.
We look at them and we say, how involved do you want to be? What is your tolerance for risk? What is your budget really? And then we can help you pick which one. So it's not like a one-size-fits-all strategy.
That's funny. You said really. So that means people lie a lot. No.
Really. People don't lie. That's a differentiator for us, though, really. And I hate to say that, but we do not BS people. Because
Well, you shouldn't. They shouldn't BS you, and you shouldn't BS them. If
No.
you can buy, you're a qualified buyer. Just admit it. And if you're not, and you're a looky-loo, just tell me you're a looky-loo, and I'll send you some deals. Right? Every now and then, you just tell me if it's good or not.
Right.
Yeah, I forgot to mention the biggest differentiator, though,
What's that?
David, and that's Jana for us. Just and why I say that is, a lot of times we'll have people contact us about listing their property, right? And why I say, I always tell people she's our secret sauce because of her appraisal background, right?
I would have said that earlier.
So when we come in and we're saying, hey, we're going to be able to, tell you what your property is actually going to appraise for. 95 or higher percent of the people are going to have to get a loan to buy your property, right? So we're not going to come and just give you a
whatever they say.
Yeah, we're not going to give you a pie in the sky number just to get your listing. We're actually going to tell you what it'll appraise for, right?
We don't want to just
Using
list it. We want to sell it.
Yeah, and so we tell people.
That's dumb to
Yeah,
list.
we tell
You wanna
people
sell.
all the time. We don't list properties. We actually sell them, right? And so
That's such a killer statement.
and so just I tell people all the time, she's our secret sauce because she can come in and do the evaluation and basically say, this is what it's going to appraise for.
Interesting is that when this is really interesting because it ties to this, is that when I was a real estate agent back in 2006 through about 2012, about 6 years, but it was around the wrong time to be an agent, by the way. Everything was for sale, nobody wanted to buy, and I was new to the game, so I got in the game literally 6 months before the market crashed. So I had no experience, I didn't know anything about this stuff. So and that was really what I wanted to do. And so about 6 months after everything went to shit and everything's going for sale, we started getting contacted by banks who would say, David, or they were looking for agents to do BPOs, brokerage professional opinions.
Uh-huh.
So I said, how much does that pay? And they were paying like 50, 100, 150, depending on the deal. And I said, well, I got this license, I don't know what I'm gonna do. So I just started doing BPOs. I did like 300 BPOs or maybe more in a year. Because every day you would get like 10 houses repoed, 20 houses repoed. And I'm like, man, this is horrible. But what it did is exactly why she's got that secret is I learned so much about real estate. I was looking at square footage. I was looking at the bedrooms, how many bathrooms. I was looking at the outside, the street. I was looking at neighborhood, market. And so I learned so much about valuation that it made me so much better at real estate. And I didn't know that at the time. I was like, this is a cool job. I just got to take some pictures, get some measurements. And then I'm like, man, I know a lot about real estate. And now I drive by those neighborhoods that I use because they're still in my community. I'm like, I remember when that house was like 80 grand. And it's 400 now. Like, shit, man, if I would have known what I know now, I'd have been buying these houses on pennies on the dollar, we'd be rich.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that was a big difference. So I know why you say she's the secret weapon, because that is a very good skill to have. Obviously, it's not as in depth as an appraisal, but it gave me some background.
Yeah,
it gave me a really good background.
Well, think you've got somebody who has got a professional marketing background. So if you're going to market your property, wouldn't you want to hire someone who's actually has been a professional marketer, somebody who looks at your investment as a part of your business? It's a business. It's not just one-off, right?
That's right.
We look at an overall strategy, and we can help you with the valuation, and then we can help you with the portfolio management.
A whole package deal. Well, I've talked to several brokers across the country for different deals that we've looked at, and I don't ever hear any of them that are very into the deal. It's like, here's the packet. If you like it, call me. It's like.
Right.
Well, this isn't it doesn't sound like they're in, I guess because they think it's going to sell no matter what.
No, we're advisors.
Yeah.
We are advisors.
I think that's a good approach. I think that does differentiate you in the market because a lot of people are brokers. That's a very good statement, though. We're not just brokers, we're advisors.
Right.
And that's, we're part of your team.
Yep.
That's a team statement, right?
Yeah, we really do feel like it is important that you have somebody who is going to stick with you throughout that whole process. From being aspirational to making your first deal to actually having portfolio maximization. That we're not looking at you as just a number. We want to help you, genuinely want to help you to create that life by design.
How can somebody contact you guys?
You can go to our website, which is https://accelcre.com. Or Jana.Truman at SVN, Sierra Victor November.com, or Brian.Truman at SVN.com.
SVN.com. Cool, guys. I got one last question for you guys.
Sure.
And you, I think I want to hear both, right? We should have both answer it. Let's do it. All right. So and you guys pick who goes first. What does building your own economy mean to you?
What is building your own economy?
Yeah, mean to you.
I'll answer it this way, right? People will say to me, they'll get talking to me about whether it's multifamily or whatever, and they're like, man, you are very passionate about real estate. And they're like, why is that? And I said, because I love to take that first-time investor, like Jana says, and walk them through the steps of, buying that first property and putting a plan together that in 8 to 10 years, they will have enough passive income that they can live a life by design, like Jana says.
Amen.
Right? So building your own economy, to me, that's what it becomes, right? So I have a couple of clients that are out just, and have been about the last year or so, they've been out just traveling the country, right? Doing nothing but just traveling with their wife and kids and dogs.
Doing
and
a deal in their RV.
Right, and we still help them buy or sell even doing that. But the point is they rented out a house here and just took off. But it's because they had enough passive income to do whatever they want, right? So they've built their own economy through commercial real estate, right? So that's my passion, is to help people do that first time, and within that 7 to 10 years, I can get them to a point where they can have their own economy.
Wow. Do you want to piggyback on that?
Sure. Well, ditto to what he said, but I'll just add something that is, again, passionate for me, is that we want you to be able to create and build wealth for yourselves, but we also would like for you to increase your standard of living so that you can increase your standard of giving and to be the change that you want to see in the world. Because we know that it's going to take every single person working together to try to fix the problems that we see in the world. And if you have your own economy and you are financially stable and you are in a place of increase, then you have the means to be able to make a difference. Because when you have the ability to respond, then you have the responsibility, and we want you to be able to make a difference in that way. So
Awesome.
It's not just enough for you to be rich and selfish. It's go make a difference.
That's right.
Do something with it. Change the world by changing your own financial status so that then you have the wherewithal that you can actually do things to help others.
Awesome.
So I have one question for you,
Yes.
David, before we end.
Yeah.
How do I get my own BYOE hat?
Oh my gosh. And that's so funny. I was gonna give you one today, but hold on. I went to Vegas and I got slammed with what people took them all from me. So I'm gonna send you one.
All right.
I got you.
Two of us.
Okay, well,
There's got to be two hats, man.
I got two. I'm gonna get you two. So
Okay.
building your own economy. Thank you guys so much. The Trumans,
Thank you.
amazing as
Thank you.
always. I knew you guys were gonna do great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
David.
Thank you
Appreciate it.
guys.